Thank you for clicking on Rank the Movies. I'm glad you're back after I talked about Southland Tales last week. That super confusing movie. This week, I'm not talking about something super confusing. I'm talking about something I like and something I hate. So, I'm going to talk about a franchise this week. It's not franchise month. I'm not doing a franchise month kind of thing. I'm just talking about the movies of a franchise. Because there's one in particular I want to talk about and hit and beat up. But I decided I needed to watch the other parts of this franchise to really make sure my criticisms were legitimate and that I just wasn't making things up as, I watched this movie. So I'm talking about the Men in Black series today. That's right, all 4 Men in Black films, and by now you can already guess which one I'm complaining about. So to start off with, we have the original Men in Black. Will Smith plays an NYPD officer who is recruited into the Men in Black, a secret government organization that polices aliens around the world. This whole thing takes place in New York because that's where the hub of the alien population is. You find out through really early on in the story that first contact happened in the late 50s, early 60s. That's important to know for later. First contact happened in the late 50s, early 60s, 1950s, 1960s. Okay. There's a bug coming to Earth to destroy a galaxy, which is the size of a marble, because, we believe we are, so huge, but in reality, to an ant, a piece of rice is about the same size. To us, they're both super tiny ideas. So it's about perspective, so a galaxy can be very small. They fight the bug, they defeat the bug. It's a great hour and a half. If you've never seen Men in Black, check it out. It is based on a Malibu comic, which is eventually bought by Marvel. But these movies are never considered Marvel films, though I have talked about Men in Black a lot on this channel. You can go back to my non-Marvel and non-MCU movies video, which was about a year ago. And I talked about Men in Black there. I talked about Men in Black during my director's series when I did Barry Sonnenfeld. So I talked about these movies, except the last one. So I'm just doing a quick overview. Men in Black, it's a great film. It definitely kicks off this series very well. Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith are great in it. Then came Men in Black 2. Tommy Lee Jones was neuralized at the end of the first one. He is deneuralized in this one to help save the planet because the light of Zarthon needs to be found and taken off the planet. While Serlina comes to the planet to attempt to take the light to use it to destroy Zarthon. Again, it's a great movie. It's not as good as the first one. It is a slight downgrade from there, but it is still a really fun movie. Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones still work great together. It's still a very well done movie. It's still a very well plotted movie. It's got all the fun from the first one. Again, it's a slightly different story. It's not a rehash of the original, because the original is the fish out of water rookie, being brought in on his first assignment, and this one is now, he's no longer a fish out of water. He's a much more seasoned agent, and he has to go find the aid of an elder agent to deal with this threat that originally showed up in the 70s. So it is a fun movie. It's great. Again, I've talked about it before on the channel, but I do again. Men in Black 2, great movies. They were a lot of fun. Then they came out with Men in Black 3. Men in Black 3, again, now, Tommy Lee Jones, is just an agent again. He did not decide to get reneuralized. You find out that in the 60s, he stopped an invasion from the Boglodites that was going to destroy the Earth by putting up a shield. The Boglodite escapes. Boris, the animal, just Boris, escapes his prison on the moon and decides to use time travel to go back and stop and kill Kay before he can stop him from defeating Boris and putting up the Arc Shield to protect the Earth from the Boglodites. Jay, played by Will Smith, is the only person that remembers who Kay is and that Kay actually lived past that and his achievements. So he also goes back in time to prevent Boris from killing Kay. It's a great movie. You got Josh Brolin playing young Tommy Lee Jones. He does such a good job with it. It's a very well-written script. And again, we're now in a time travel movie. It's very different than the first one and the second one. And actually, let me make sure I'm doing this right. If I had to put this trilogy in order, I would go 1, 3, 2. That would be my order of how good these movies are. First one is great. Third one is really good. Second one's not as good as the other two, but it's still a good movie. But yeah, I love the third one. It is such a breath of fresh air in cinematic quality and what it does with the story to continue to unfold. It is a great end to a trilogy, and it is very well done. I really like Men in Black 3. It is such a good movie. If you've never seen the original Men in Black trilogy, definitely check it out. It is so worth it. That brings us to Men in Black International, the fourth movie of the franchise. The movie that gets away from Agent J and Agent K and moves on to a new story taking place in other parts of the world other than New York. This movie ain't good. It's not. It is not a good film. Basically, you have Agent M, played by Tessa Thompson. She is not neuralized when she is a child, and she meets an alien. Just because her parents are neuralized, but the Men in Black believe she is sleeping. So, she grows up wanting to become an agent, eventually infiltrates the Men in Black, and becomes an agent, is sent to London to deal with a problem there. That is where she meets Agent H, played by Chris Hemsworth, and High T, played by Liam Neeson. They go on a wacky adventure to try to stop an alien called the Hive, which was apparently defeated at some point in the past? Maybe they're not really. Literally, the movie starts with H and High T going to confront the Hive. Then it jumps 20 years earlier to when Molly was a child. Then it comes back to whatever the present is, and I'm not sure if it's 20 years before the Hive thing, or if it's 20 years before the present day. They are really not that clear with how the timeline works in this movie. So, why do I hate this movie? Why do I think it is not a good continuation of the original series and what it did? Simply because it doesn't follow the continuity created in Men in Blacks 1, 2, and 3. You start off, and the first time you're introduced to H, after the opening scene, because you get the opening scene where him and High T are going to confront the Hive. After that scene is done, the next time you see him, he is undercover, so he's not in a suit. Now, they successfully made 3 really good movies, and at no point are J or K or any other MIB agent seen not wearing their issued suit, unless, of course, it is the one scene where Will Smith is at home, getting, relaxing and about to go to, he's winding down for the day. That's it. That's the only time you see any of these people outside of their suits from the time they become Men in Black until the end of the film. That's it. One scene in 3 movies where they are not in their suits for any reason. And this one, right away, you get it. He's not in his suit for some reason. He's a Man in Black. I don't think they do undercover work. I think they just let themselves be known and go do what they have to do. That's what's established in the first 3 films. Also, the place where they fight the Hive is the Eiffel Tower, which is fine. Historic landmarks are a thing in the Men in Black universe, but it is said to have been built by Eiffel to allow aliens in. Meaning now, instead of First Contact being made in the late 50s, early 60s, 1950s, 1960s, it's now being made in the 1800s. So the continuity of when aliens first met humans is completely thrown out, because the first one clearly states the Men in Black organization was not founded until that First Contact. This one has a Men in Black-like arrival station in the Eiffel Tower, and they say Eiffel was a Man in Black. So, which continuity? I'm gonna take the continuity of the 3 good films. So that annoyed me. Also, again, later on in the film, you see them outside of their suits again. It's just a weird piece of continuity that drove me nuts when I saw this movie in theaters, and drove me nuts again when I rewatched it to prep for this review. Some of it isn't bad. I think the ending of the movie is really obvious as to what is going to happen. They try to make it like, oh, he's the villain! Spoiler alert, it's High T. And you just accept that. Like, he's obviously the villain. Why? At this point, if there's a mole, like, he's it. You're trying to lead me down this road of this other dude, but it's definitely not him. It's definitely Liam Neeson. Why else is Liam Neeson in this film? But no, it isn't as good as the original, and I could care less. You know, if it doesn't have Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, that's fine. You can do a Men in Black movie without them. It's definitely fine. They also make the statement that High T is the best agent Men in Black have ever had. K is the best agent Men in Black has ever had. He literally saves the world on 3 separate occasions by this point. And High T you get once, and he didn't actually save the world, because he gets infested by the Hive. And he is the best agent Men. It's that thing. If they just said he's the best agent the Men in Black in London have ever had, that would have been acceptable. I would have accepted that line, because that would have been an accurate line and a fine line. The line that he is the best agent Men in Black has ever had is a misleading line that basically tells you that these 3 movies don't matter, and this is all that matters. And they make the whole thing that they're the Men in Black. Oh, but there are women! There's a female agent in this movie. There are female agents in this movie. There are female agents in this movie. Clearly, it's just a term. It's just the name. It is a name. If you want to change the name, that's fine. But they don't want to change the name, because the marketing says MIB is what they want to show, which is why it just says MIB on everything here. MIB. The first time it actually says Men in Black is the back of the box. Back of the box says Men in Black. But if you look at the front of the box, if you look at the sides, it just says MIB. Well, the rest actually say Men in Black. Because again, it's sexist. It's the title of the movie. It's the 4th movie of a franchise. If you want to change it to the People in Black, that's fine. But they don't want to do that because they know that's not the marketing people see. They want to see the MIB. And that's it. They don't want to know what the M stands for, but they want the M there. Honestly, this movie is... It's not horrible. It's not rotten. It is the weakest cog in a really good franchise. It took Men in Black, which probably would be one of my favorite trilogies, by itself. It's not in the trilogy video because of this. Because that counts. That's the 4th part. It takes what is a really great and well-made trilogy, a well-thought-out trilogy, a well-handled trilogy, and it shits on it. That's what this movie does. It's not bad, but it's taking a giant dump. It's not a good giant dump either. Honestly, and I don't even care that other parts of this movie are super predictable as well. But again, it's those little things. It's the little things that made them go, we have continuity. Like, we have 3 movies that establish a continuity here. And they went, yeah, fuck it, we don't like their continuity. We want our own continuity. We want to be based on them, but start our own. They also have murals in London. 2 of them. One showing J and K fighting off the bug. So J and K are actual agents and are real, and apparently their accomplishments mean dick in Men in Black. And H and High T fighting off the Hive. There are these 2 murals. Now in 3, you're shown how Men in Black are remembered in death. Because Zed, who is the head of the Men in Black organization in America, has just recently died by the start of this movie. The actor didn't die until shortly after this movie came out. No connection. But he's dead in this one because he was retired at this point. Rip Torn. And you see that basically they're just standard kind of mantles. Like, they're not really detailed. They're not made to look like it because they're supposed to be anonymous. Because you're not supposed to know who these people are. You're supposed to remember them but not know who they are. They have murals. They have giant-ass paintings depicting 4 agents. That bothered me. Like, I thought it was a nice callback in the first time I watched it, and it bothered me this time. Like I said, it is not a fitting continuation of the series as it's been created. I think they could have done a lot better. I hope they try to reboot this franchise again and make a movie that fits the continuity and is still really good. Because this one is kind of a letdown. Like, they went, we're international! We have to go internationally! These were set in America. they feature New York. You get a little bit of Mexico in this one. I'm sorry. You get a little bit of Mexico in this one, but they're set in America. But they're basically New York. They could have just set this thing in London and have been done with it, and been really good, and made a really good movie set in a different place. So yeah, that's my rant about Men in Black International, and how much I dislike it compared to the other three Men in Black films, and how I think they shat on its own continuity. So, if you really love Men in Black International, and you want to argue with me, leave a comment. I think you're wrong. If you like this video, hit the like button. Subscribe to see more content from Rank the Movies. I am Martin Prevost. I didn't talk about the TV show, the animated series. Not because it's not any good. I enjoyed watching it when I was a kid, and I've considered buying it since I've become an adult. It's a fun series. Definitely, if you like Men in Black and you want to watch a show, bam, watch the animated series. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. I'm going back to just a single movie next week again that is not super confusing like Southland Tales and isn't going to piss me off like Men in Black International. Alright, have a good one.